anyway, so it wouldn't matter. Anyway, so it wouldn't matter.
You can get started. You only need a quorum to vote.
Okay.
If you want to wait, it's up to you. But if
Yeah, wait just a couple more minutes.
okay.
Oh, we're missing right now, Miss Thelma.
Thelma called and she said that she'd be late. I don't know if she's coming up here or to log back on.
Okay.
She just called Alicia and said she's running late.
Okay, Mr. Focal
Mhm.
and Anthony. I think Anthony's gonna call me.
Okay.
Give him a couple more minutes. We're ready to start with work session.
Hey, Al.
Good morning.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Good morning.
Throw that tongue around my loose.
I'll sit right here. Okay. All right, good afternoon, everyone. I think we can go ahead and get started with our work session. Right now, we have President Councilman Brooklyn, Councilman Ruffin, Councilman Hines, Councilman Focal, and myself, the mayor.
Do you want to get another?
Councilman McDaniel and
Okay.
Councilman Thomas will probably be joining us here shortly. They're running a little behind. Our first item on the agenda is updates from Civil Southeast, and it is on the Vandy Fair Lake project and the local street paving project. So, gentlemen, if you would talk about the lake project first.
Yes, yes, sir, Mayor, Council, Clerk. Hey, Mr. Melvin, how you?
We're here.
Good to see you. We've got a 2021 resurfacing project in front of y'all that I'm sure you have seen. It encompasses 8 streets for a total of $300,000. Those streets are Odom Street, Pine Leaf Drive, Briarfield, Pecan, Shelby, Houston, Azalea, and Ag Drive. And essentially got 2 resolutions in front of you. The first one's just to authorize us to move forward with design plans, bid process. And the second is to set a bid date of April the 14th.
April the 14th, that's right.
So pretty straightforward. Total estimated project cost $300,000, which matches what you had in the budget. Just want to open it up for any questions that y'all got.
I got a question. These resurfacing projects come around every year, and what type of grant is given for it, and what determines the location of the resurfacing projects?
Sure. Mary, you want to speak to the history, and then I'll talk to the grants?
Yeah, Michael, it's been about 3 years. The last 3 years, we've been able to allocate over between $200,000 to $300,000 to street resurfacing. So we really honed in on trying to get a lot more street resurfacing done. Before it was sporadic; it would be every other year, every 3 years. So the last 3 years, we've been able to allocate
Every year, or okay,
every year for the last 3 years, we've been able to do street resurfacing projects.
Okay.
The Rebuild Alabama came into place 2 years. So last year was the first year that we were able to do that. And that's a matching grant with ALDOT. But the last two applications, we haven't been successful in getting that grant money. So this is all on the city's dime. The last 3 years, the city has allocated our own city funds towards the street resurfacing. So there hasn't been any grant money
Okay.
attributed to any of the
So
street
once we
resurfacing.
get the Rebuild Alabama grant, then
We could do more.
we can do more.
Right. So like we budgeted $600,000 in this year's budget.
Mhm.
250,000 of that was supposed to come from Rebuild Alabama, but since our application didn't get approved,
Oh, okay.
we can do 350,000. But we decided that 50,000 we're going to try and use in the courtyard at the community house,
Mhm.
and then the 300,000 is going to go straight towards street resurfacing.
So next year we can plan to do the exact same thing.
Same thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So
So
we also do some in every single district.
okay.
If you got a street, get with Michael, this is terrible, this is the one I think the worst in my district, can we do something with this one next year?
Okay.
That's what we've done in the past.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, we typically take in, I mean, we're working on, I guess, third, fourth year, I couldn't remember how many, Mary, of local money, and then trying to spread it out across districts, and then also leverage that money with grant money. Unfortunately, the grant pot is probably going to work out to be on Aldott side, probably get a grant probably once every 7-8 years. And you say that's sad, but it's just kind of where we are. They're trying to spread it out. The closest municipalities that's gotten money to Monroeville through Rebuild Alabama are Excel and Beatrice. They're starting with the smaller municipalities and working their way up. It's a brand new grant program. So those folks that don't have much tax base, they're helping them first. But eventually, City of Monroeville will receive $250,000 through Rebuild Alabama. We're fishing the pond every year for y'all trying to get that money.
It's an annual program that will help the city submit an application each year.
Yeah.
And they're submitted around November, somewhere in there.
Right. So every year we're asking for as much grant money as we can get. It's just, you're not going to get it every year. It's going to be about every 5th to 7th year. So.
Now in District 1, I'm appreciative for Shelby Street, but that's a little single lane, real small, short road. So we'll kind of get shafted in District 1, but I'd like to see us amend the budget and add another 100,000 to the paving this year. If my other council members are in favor of that, and do some additional paving while we are doing this.
Okay.
Especially since we cut it by 50. So.
In other words, what I'm hearing you saying to increase the budget to 400,000. Now, is that, I don't know, I hadn't had a chance to, look at that request. I don't know where that puts us in our budget. Would we have to do some revisions to it, and what would be the funding source?
I don't know where we have the money to do it, where we would pull the money from.
I mean, we got enough in excess sales tax just last month that we covered the majority of that.
So the determination from districts, would everybody get like one road or two roads, or is it just
Well, like
me?
you said, in his case, he's getting money wise, he's not getting it, but they didn't do an agriculture drive in mine, which is, it's really not going to any housing, it's more commercial end of it, because the county did one part of it and we said we'd finish the rest of it. And we didn't do it last year, so we're doing it this year. But
And see, I had other roads in it to start with in the big package. And this is the first I've seen, when this was sent out of the amended package.
Yeah, that's what, I'm still kind of agreeing to this.
in point at him, give him a rough time over there a little bit. Everybody else does.
Hey, none of that. I like it.
But we did start that with 3 years or 4 years ago of trying to do something kind of like the county wound up doing, saying, okay, this is our worst road. Let's go ahead and get some attention to it in your district. Same way with us. I mean, we had.
So let me ask this question now. So if we increase the budget, that would give us the authorization to spend the additional money once we get it identified.
As I understand it, yes.
Okay.
If the budget will support it. We'd have to have
We have to pull it from somewhere, like you, and we don't have that,
The budget's not gonna show it this time, but at the end of the year, we may have a surplus.
right?
And then, that may, more likely, the best direction would be, Al, is to wait and see, and make sure the surplus next year gets earmarked onto the paving and go that direction. Be the simplest way.
Because we did $50,000 in our contingency fund in the general fund, so we don't have 100,000 out there to pull from our budget to put towards capital
So
improvement.
you can't amend the budget and increase revenue and increase expense.
No, I mean, I don't know where we would get it from, because we did our
You
3
can't
million.
guarantee you that's gonna happen, because the sales tax may be down next month. We're anticipating,
About 5 months in.
we're anticipating we're gonna be fine shape.
Well, I guess what my question is, budget is a spending plan. And in order for you to execute the spending plan, it depends on the amount of revenue that comes in. So if your revenue does not come in to match what your spending plan is, that means at some point you gotta make a decision to try to, do something. So what I think I understand, and I'm hearing what you're saying, is if we increase the spending plan for $400,000, then that gives us the authority to spend that money if the revenue comes. Now, does the accounting procedures allow for that?
You'd have to do a resolution to amend the budget, but we've already got to amend a lot of the general fund budget. We've just got to figure out where that money's going to come from. We got to pull the money from somewhere, and we don't have, we did $3 million in our sales tax in revenue. So we'd have to amend the budget to 3.1 million, and then take that $100,000 and put it towards capital improvements, street resurfacing and capital improvements.
Now, my question is,
Or
if enough revenue is not generated to cover that $100,000, then we don't make the expenditure.
But if you're gonna do it, now's the time to do it, because the bidding process and the witness gonna be here, and the most efficient is gonna be to do it at this time. But my thoughts is, I understand what you're coming from, Al, and that, but the simplest way would be, if we want to having that at the end of the year as a surplus, that can be rolled over into our paving project for next year and get your extra streets in, maybe. Simple, because we have the money in there.
I'm in favor of doing the $100,000, but we've got a budget, and I think we need to stick with the budget. If at the end, but like you say, Melvin, if you're gonna do it, you're gonna get a lot better deal if you're paving 400,000 at the same time versus 300 now and 100 later on. But I just think we need to kind of stick with the budget we got, and then at the tail end, if we've got it, roll it over into next year. I'm in favor of paving every street we can possibly pave, but I don't want to throw this budget all out of whack, But don't get me wrong now, I'm in favor of paving every single street we can afford to pave. But I just don't, to me, we've got a budget, we need to stick with the budget.
And we may do $500,000 next year.
Right, exactly.
So basically what happened is District 1's funding the patio work at the parks. That's what it boils down to.
But the criteria falls with the county, right? Who determines who gets.
No, the only county thing I threw in there is they wound up adopting that last year on how to pave roads. Everybody in the district got one. They got to pick their worst road for them to do the paving, kind of like we did 3 years ago.
Okay.
So that's the only Only thing I even throw anything to do with the county name in there at all.
Yeah, in my district, there's some pretty rough roads and it hadn't, a lot of work hadn't been done over there. And that's why I was trying to figure out what's the criteria in order to get some of these roads fixed. And I just wanted to go back and it should be valid to show each year how many roads in each district have been done, right?
Michael has put out a list of all the roads and how much it basically costs to do them, and kind of in priority. You got a list of roads, amount that basically is cost to do them.
Yeah,
And by priority,
on the cost.
and he can get that to you.
Yeah, that's all I needed to know what was the priority and how can I get some things done in my district. That's all.
See, you can actually save money by, when you do bigger roads, you're going to save money in far as mobilization. But when you start jumping from district to district, that's going to cost you more in the long run because you're having to pay this contractor. He's charging you to move his equipment from district to district, from this side of town to that side of town. So, a lot of times, what I try to look at is, well, they won't have to move so much or as far, they can do like a circle like, and they can start over here and just work their way around and they don't have to lowboy as much to haul their equipment.
Yeah.
Because mobilization can get expensive.
Right. I understand. Like I said, I was just trying to understand the process because there's definitely some streets in my district that hadn't been seen about in years, and they kind of need to get fixed.
Well, yeah, that's like at Houston Street over there.
Yeah, Lauderdale and Ivy.
Hey, Ken,
Those
and dude, I think on that list, he has the roads, the streets marked out that have already been paved over X amount of time. So that might help you, too, to kind of see, priority plus what's,
Yeah, that's the only thing I was looking for, trying to get some information. I kind of understand it better when I can look at it.
Right. Oh, man.
Yes.
What about the 50,000 that we took out for the community house? Can we find 50 somewhere and put that back in?
No, I mean, our capital improvements budget's already running tight. So I can go back and look at some numbers and see about the sales tax, but we kind of lowballed the sales tax because it wasn't coming in as well for the capital improvements account. So I mean, I can run numbers for you guys, but it's the capital improvements account is already running low as is.
And I can see kind of being cautious because once all the people that's had the virus, the ones that get the vaccine, hey, we may not get the kind of sales tax. Folks may be traveling a lot more and doing other things, but I was just wondering if there was somewhere in there that we could get the 50, to do the community house rather than take it out of the street paving.
I mean, one option is the proceeds from the sale of the MIP building. If we needed to, once we get the bids in for the Sterling building improvements, we can come back and see if there's some funds there. If we wanted to pull 50,000 from there to put towards the community house, and then that's the only place I can see right now that would be that extra little amount that we weren't expecting this to have this year.
Al, which street were you interested in adding? I know it may be streets plural, but is there one that's top of your list?
Wiggins, or Sunset, or two of the ones that were the worst, I think.
Sunset.
Those are both pretty expensive streets. They were about 40, if I remember right.
I think around 12 to 40.
Did you mention another street, Mr. Al, or just Sunset?
To me, West Wiggins needs it worse than Sunset. They're kind of side by side, and
Yeah, they run parallel, don't they?
but either one of those would be good if we can find the funding for it.
Sure. From my perspective, I'm just super encouraged that y'all are annually chipping away at your streets as opposed to how it used to be. Um, as far as amending the budget, obviously we don't have a vote there, nor we're trying to push anything, but how would y'all like for us to proceed, or can we answer any more questions if you got?
Let me ask a quick question.
Jeremy,
Yes, ma'am.
you added a street to my list, Tucker Street, Tucker Drive. Is that on the list?
Currently it's not, Miss Thelma. We've got more needs than we've got money for.
But it's on the list though.
I know it's on the list, but what we've got as it relates to what will fit the total budget right now is going to be Odom Street, Pine Leaf, Pecan, Briarfield, Ag, Azalea, Houston, and Shelby. There's 8 streets.
So you're gonna take Tucker Drive off.
I can take any of them off that y'all can vote to agree on, Ms. Thelma.
But we need to let that one stay on.
Same thing.
Paxton, have you got that list of streets in front of you that like Sunset on that estimate?
Is it this?
Michael, what did you tell me about that street?
I don't remember, man, you talking about Tucker. We talked
You
about
know,
Odom.
I told you that y'all had put that street on the list. It was the last street on that sheet. And I was wondering, how did it get on the list?
Now, Ms. Thelma, so there's no confusion, and we were speaking to this a little earlier. You know, we submitted an application for some grant funding for street paving, and it had several streets on it that are not on this list before you tonight. And you are correct, Tucker Drive was on that list of streets.
That's right.
Miss Thelma, it's confusing. Every year we're trying to actually leverage your local money, which has been around 300,000, with grant money. That number is going to be, that's called Rebuild Alabama money. It's $250,000 for a $550,000 project. And so the list that y'all saw for that grant, it was almost double the streets.
There were 17 streets on the list for the grant, Ms. Thelma.
So what you're saying, we going with the first list, not the second list?
We didn't get the grant, so we've only got your money to spend, not your money plus the grant money. So we're just going to try to do about half of them this year and hopefully be able to do the other half next year.
Okay, that's good.
It's not that it's not a priority. It's just we don't have the $500,000 to spend. We just got the 300.
Oh, okay.
West Wiggin. Now this is an old estimate at 35,995. So but now that's an old estimate, and you could probably add, you could probably say West Wiggins is going to be around 39, probably between 38 and 39.
And Shelby Street is what?
Shelby Street's like 5,000 something.
Would it be possible to put one of those in as an alternate to see how the bids come in?
You could do an alternate bid on them. But you know, the one thing about it, we could go ahead and bid it out like it is. And once we do this paving, see what money we got left, and then see if we could, because it's probably going to be May before we get the paving done anyway. It's probably going to be end of April, 1st of May. And
hold on, are the Rebuild Alabama streets?
he hadn't done them yet. He's going to try to do them this month.
Well, then that should increase it to 38,000, right?
What?
338,000, because the money for those.
We didn't put that money in with this.
You didn't.
We were
Okay.
doing that as a public works project.
Gotcha. Okay, you pulled them out.
And they're not counting it in the
Okay.
300,000.
That's not counting interest. But if we, say, once we do this paving project, we got $20,000 left over, we could take that 20, and if you could find another 15 or 20 to go with, another 20-something thousand dollars to go with it, then we could do like West Wiggins or Sunset, if you wanted to do it that way. Just go ahead and go with the paving project like it is now, and let's see what we got left, and then turn around and see how much money we need to put with that to do like West Wiggins or Sunset, whichever one you want to do.
That's not a bad idea. I almost like that better than putting it as an additive alternate.
Yeah.
Gives you all a little bit more flexibility without contractually being bound to anything.
And I appreciate it. I'm just speaking up for my people. So,
No, it's what you're supposed to be doing now. I wish we had the full $550,000 to be able to do all 17 streets. So,
Okay. So are we good with that plan?
looks like.
okay.
All right.
Are y'all okay with the bid opening date that's been suggested of April 14th?
Sooner the better.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, that should clear up that. If we can, we'll move into an update on a couple of projects.
Yeah, we'll go through this pretty quick. I know we're about out of time. Before you tonight will be an agreement with ADEM to move forward with the rubber mulch project. This is the grant that we've talked about before that you are getting, $480,000. Actually a little bit more than that, $48,992 that the city will be getting from ADEM. And what that's for is just some rubber mulch to replace the wood mulch that's out at Veterans Park. The project will actually, unfortunately, probably be completed over in the fall of the year. Just by the time we submit the paperwork and get the mulch ordered, there's a hold up on that right now, just with the COVID situation, but it'll probably be in the fall of the year. And Michael and his guys will actually be the ones to install the mulch. The grant itself is just to purchase the material. So Michael and his guys will then go out there and take out the existing wood mulch that's there now and replace it with just a rubber mulch. It's a shredded rubber mulch. You've probably seen it on some playgrounds before. Pretty much looks just like wood mulch, except it's made with scrap tires. When you take your tires to the tire shop and get them changed out, they'll take the old ones and make rubber mulch out of them.
And what's the name of this grant again?
It comes from ADEM. It's called a scrap tire marketing program is what they call the program. And it's just money to apply to get rubber mulch or poured in place rubber surfacing to use on playgrounds and different things.
So the city can actually fill out for it again, right?
Yes,
For
sir.
other parts here.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. So once we finish this project and close it out, if the council decides to apply for another playground, we can apply for another one at that point.
Yeah, because we have 2 more playgrounds also within the city limits.
I think we could do both of those in the same grant.
That one by 10 Parish.
Yeah.
That
And then the one in Clausville.
and the one in Plaza, I think we could do both of those in one grant.
Okay.
Hey, Councilman, this was before your time. This is actually a project that we've been working on now for about 2.5 years. This application was submitted. I've actually got the cost estimate in front of me here back in December of 2018. So it took some time to get this money. But it's one of those things, if you don't have an application submitted, you're for sure not going to get it. So as soon as we get this closed out, we can move forward with submitting another application.
Sounds good.
So before you tonight, like I said, is the agreement with ADEM just to move forward, and then also another resolution and an agreement to hire Civil Southeast to oversee and manage the project. Any questions on that? Good deal. The last thing is just a quick update on the lake project. Everything out there is moving along nicely. If you've driven by in the past week or so, you probably noticed where they installed some new pipes and then concrete head walls under Park Drive from the sedimentation pond that comes into the lake. All that's coming together real nicely. The contractor, based on what he's telling us, they're still on schedule to finish by the end of the month. There may be some things, if you notice, there's some dirt piled up. The pond that's just north of the lake that we've decided to fill in, if you will, it will no longer be a pond. That material, that dirt that's there is having to dry out. And it may actually be after the end of February before it dries out enough to where they can spread it and move it around like they need to. But the bulk of the project, having water back in the lake based on what they're telling us, assuming we don't have some kind of crazy weather between now and then, should be completed by the end of the month like they're supposed to. Any questions on the lake project?
Paxton, I just wanted to be based on my conversations with the contractor and with you guys. It appears that we have some source up there that's sending down a bunch of sediment that'll be going into that settling pond. So eventually we're going to have to try and work out probably some type of schedule or whatever to maintain that pond and keep it clean out, so we don't end up having to go back and spend a huge amount of money to clean the settling pond out and drain the lake again and that type of thing. And I think the design with the board going in at the head wall up there to help keep that sediment from going into the pond is going to pay for itself in the future. So, but just, you know, it's a maintenance thing once they get it complete.
Okay. Mayor, once the project's complete, we plan to actually talk with the contractor and a few others and present some type of maintenance plan to the council and try to give you an idea of maybe how much money you need to budget each year to maintain that settling pond.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments on the lake project? And just want to say we appreciate y'all's patience with that project. It has been a challenging project and some things that were unknown. Really just want to say thank you for your patience. But it's all coming together out there. And like I said, hopefully by the end of this month, we'll have water back in the lake.
All right. Okay. Well, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you. All right. The next item on the agenda is where we are talking about the public participation and privileges of the floor policy. We do have the changes are in red. I think it reflects what the council said that they would like to see. Number 5, it says speakers will only present items relevant to the city of Monroeville, Alabama. Item 12 basically comes back and relates to complaints about personnel. And it says complaints related to personnel matters shall be handled at the discretion of the mayor and presented in executive session to the council. And item 15 was removed. And the question came up about the form attached is a copy of the form. And it basically says that when we give you this form, we will also provide you with a copy of the ordinance, so you know exactly what the time limits are and what the subject, you know, that cannot be discussed by the council or should not be discussed by the council. But I think that reflects all the changes that the council wished. Any comments?
I still feel they need to be a citizen of Monroeville, but everything else is fine with that.
Okay. So we're good with moving forward and presenting this to council. Okay. Next item on work session has to do with the alcohol ordinance amendments. And basically, what we have here, we sent out all of the changes, which include the definitions, and it also talks about the licensing fee. This really, it did not change anything in the ordinance. It just added this information to it to allow for such as a brew pub, like sports bar, whatever, if someone came to Monroeville. It talks about the identifies malt manufacturer, micro distillery, and micro brewery. And it also talks about restaurant pub. Defines what a tavern is. And also it goes through and it describes when it comes down to what can be done as far as sampling, and that is done according to what state law states that they can do. So, do we have any discussion or?
They will be serving food there, correctly?
At the distillery?
Yes.
No, sir, they won't, they can't serve food there. They can only serve, they can allow sampling, they can sell the product.
Right.
And they can allow sampling of the product, but they cannot serve food at the distillery. Now, the brew pub or the tavern or somewhere like that, they can.
That's what I'm sorry.
Right.
Right.
Right. Right.
So where they can sell beverages there, they still like to serve food on that part of it. Is what you're saying, not the distillery, but at the brew pub?
At the brew pub,
Okay.
yes, sir, they can. They can. And also there is, where he talks about a tavern, there is a limited amount of food that can be served at the tavern, but their main purpose is, you know, like you said, it's a tavern where you can go in and you can entertain drinks and things of this nature. But, you know, what this does, it really kind of puts us up to date with a lot of the other cities, you know, because a lot of people now, they have sports bars. And I would love to see one here in Monroeville. At least we open the way for it. If it comes about. Okay. We have any other questions concerning? Ms. Thompson, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay. Is there anything else in here that we need to discuss, or is that pretty much covers all of the items?
It covered everything. There's really not anything else that we need in there.
Okay. All right. Okay. Next item on the agenda. Oh, and when we do these two ordinances, let everybody know that I'm going to have to suspend the rules so that we can move forward with them, because one of them at least is going to require a public hearing. Okay. Mr. Roger Schultz from Republic Services for our contract renewal.
He was out there.
Hey. Hello.
Hey. Hello, how you
Where
doing?
would you like me to sit?
Take a chair.
See me? Look at. Hey, guys. Hey, I don't know if I talked to the computer.
The microphone's in the computer, that's just.
Okay, all right. Well, should I start or?
Yes.
Okay. I'm here, of course, Roger Schultz with the Public Services, and a couple of things, you know, we appreciate our relationship with Monroeville. We feel like it is a true partnership and working together as we go through some crazy times. This past year, obviously had a pandemic, had 2 hurricanes, and we continue to still service Monroeville. We didn't slow down service. I think maybe one day we had to stop service because of Hurricane Zeta, and we had a force majeure, which we stopped it, but we were back in as soon as possible. I think we missed Thursday, and we came back and picked up on that Saturday. So a lot of crazy things have happened. Of course, this is a time for extension of the contract, and a couple of things. Part of it, there's a residential part and there's the commercial part of it, and what I'm asking is that we want to obviously extend the contract, but we'd like to hold the residential. Don't do the contract calls for CPI on the residential, and the only time we can raise the commercial rates are extension. We can't raise them anytime during the contract if they're struggling. And I know we're trying to help, the city try to figure out where some losses are on the garbage side. So I'm asking that we would hold the CPI for the residents in year one, and this next coming year, we wouldn't charge them a CPI, which the contract asked for, and asking for a 9% increase on the commercial, which would make it, and that would hold true for this year, and that price holds true for 3 years. So it can't go up anymore. It would stay that. I guess obviously the benefit to the businesses is the fact that they can actually budget to that number. They'll know what it is. It's not going to be like, I wonder what that number is going to be next year or what it's going to be in year 3. It'll be stated, but we can only ask for an increase at one time. And that basically kind of runs along the CPIs. I was looking, Mary asked me to see what the CPIs have been running the last couple years with the contract. And 2019, it was a 3.6% increase. And then last year it was 3.2. So what we're asking for the businesses, it roughly comes out to 3% a year for the next 3. That's what it averages out to. That's why we're asking for the 9% now in that price.
9% up front or 3%?
No, it would be 9% up front, and then that's it. There would never be, that's I converted some of the rates.
They got it.
Okay, yeah. And you can see like it'll be like $6 increase a month for like somebody that has like a 4 yard, and you can see kind of what the increase would be with that 9%. So, and then I know I'm gonna work with Mary to try to help too with some of I know there's falling short a little bit. So I think one thing we can do to help that is we'll do a cart. By the way, I haven't had a chance to talk to you about this, but do a cart audit. I think that
I was going to ask that question
because I think, part of it too is that probably there's probably some bad debt along on the residential side, probably some on the commercial side, but I know you build through the water department and so it's so it has to work together to try to figure it out, but we can help with the cart count. And that way we'll a cart audit and we'll know, who's got it, but you guys got to work with us. And if it says that person's supposed to have 1 cart, they got 2 carts, the city says, hey, we're going to take that other cart.
Yeah.
And then they can call you and they can get the service for the cart or not get the cart. And that'll help along the way. And then if we do it, we'll find out there might be more out there or it could be more, could be less. And that way we can make an adjustment on how many people we charge a month also on the residential side.
Because currently you're only three residents are paying for an additional cart. And I know I counted today in my neighborhood, I counted 5.
So I've been here since probably 1:30. I went driving around and there's so many people that have 2 carts. It is unbelievable. Yeah. I driving in, I was like, they got 2. I was like, God, I can't wait to tell Mary. Mary goes, I drive down my street, people got 2 carts. So they're not paying for them. So I think the cart audit will help you with that deficit. Also, I think doing raising the initial commercial maybe that'll help. I mean, obviously it's going to be a little bit more of an expense for some of the businesses, but
sure glad you already decided to raise single cart.
The individual.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting too with the pandemic that's happened is we've had a lot more trash to pick up off the curb for residents because people have been home and businesses got shut down because everybody go, well, why would you increase the business? But businesses are coming back and businesses, they afford for loss, so they got an expense for that. It hits businesses different than it hits individuals and individual residents. So that's why we thought we'd do a hold on them, even though we've had an increase of some garbage at the curb, but we were able to shift some.
Tonnage is still there.
Huh?
The tonnage from Monroeville is still there.
It's shifted a little. Yeah. Exactly. And so we were able to shift it and we were able to make it work with our employees too and stuff. And so I think that's one of the benefits of being with public services.
But for a small business like myself, it doesn't have an extremely amount of garbage because I'm open twice a month and so on and so forth. I pay twice as much almost as residential for that same dumpster.
Right.
Yeah. I'm
I'm
not complaining.
Right. No, I understand.
I just understand that.
That's just, yeah.
Some people don't understand that part, that what we pay versus that for that same thing.
Right.
Same service.
So
And, you know, as I went through, I kind of went over some of the numbers with our city clerk. And from October 19th of 19 until September of 20, I think we ended up paying $909,789.49 for, waste management service.
To you guys.
Yeah,
Right.
thank you.
Now, what ended up happening is that what we collected from Monroeville Waterworks during that same period of time was $847,077.95. So that is that additional money right there. The city had to make up that short. That's a street.
That's right. Yeah.
So, you know, I go back and I look at from here, and we're not we're providing a service. We're not trying to make money. We just want to break even so we don't have to go back into our general fund to make up this shortfall. And I think with these new rates that you're providing us, that will cover our costs. And at the same time, we got to go back and do some work with
You got to figure out where the bad debt's coming from.
Yeah. And identify those bad debts and work to either take them off or collect the money from them.
Yeah. And I think once that happens, I mean, I think it'll narrow it down. And because as I've been thinking about this and trying to help, you know, Mary and I's had this discussion for 3 years and how we can, but definitely card audit's the way to go. But also, you know, during that card audit too, it might increase, it could decrease, it could, but at least I think we'll have people that'll be accountable and we'll know that, hey, those two people there, they got 2 cans, they don't have 2 cans, or they got a can, or there might be somebody that has a can that doesn't even pay them for service. So that way it'll kind of tighten that up a little bit. I think you'll see that your deficit will go down. And like you said, get it one for, you know, it should be.
Right.
You're not trying to profit off of the trash.
We're not trying to profit.
Right.
We just want to break even. That's all we're looking at doing. And I think based on this contract that you're proposing, when we get our collections in line, then we could break even on it.
Yeah, I think so.
And not have to pull money from our general fund.
Yeah.
I want to compliment, usually when we call you or Amanda, the service is prompt and we appreciate that. It means a lot to our.
Well, we're trying, and I actually it's funny, I spoke at the Kiwanis Club, and that's when I finally got to meet the mayor. And it's sometimes when you expose yourself when you're a trash guy to the public, you know, I probably won't be speaking in public in Monroeville. No, you get calls, and I actually had a call that there's something I need to talk to you about, a process that's happening, but we want to make sure we get it straight. And if it's, you know, we don't want to, I just have to talk to you about that.
That's fine.
Okay. I know Larry's dying to ask you some questions.
I saw Larry's man. I saw Coach Saban last night.
Did you?
Yeah. He was asking about you.
You didn't ask him to take a pay cut, did you? Need to give him a raise. He's worth every penny.
Yeah.
Roger, one thing that comes up from time to time is replacement carts.
That's the question. So that's the question I got today. And that's what I'm trying to, I don't know if I understand the process. I think they call the city emails us, and then we deliver the cans to your central location and y'all distribute it out, or do we deliver the cans to the people that request? Okay. So that was a question. A lady had emailed me today and was asking, who do I call? So I'm going to say, call the city. And if you give me the contact name of the person to call it the city.
It's all the administration.
Okay. So
we all do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she was like, well, we call the city or it takes 3 weeks or what. So I don't know the process, but I asked Creed, who delivers our carts and stuff like that, is how does it work? He goes, usually the city sends me a list and then we take care of it. And so, I mean, there might have been a backlog. It just happened because we may have had COVID. I don't know what created a backlog, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, but some people, I guess, but the process would be they would call the city will email us, and then we will distribute the cans, hopefully in a very timely manner. And so that's how that should work. So that was what I needed to ask.
We probably get
off for my residential one, so I should call y'all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Our entire staff at City Hall handles garbage requests. I've done it myself too, but we probably get between 15 to 20 calls a day.
Just for like a repair or a
replacement cart, a new cart,
A new
pick up,
service.
Okay,
yeah.
and then you compile that information and send it over to Creed or send it over, okay, perfect. That's,
And used to, several years ago, we kept 15 or 20 out of Public Works
and you still
for a
should.
quick replacement now. We
Yeah,
don't
there's-
have any now.
They haven't done that in years.
We've emailed.
We
Oh,
got-
that's okay. I think the reason we did that is because they were going out without accountability to where that cart went.
We
So
need to
I think
bring
that's
it
why
back
we
to
took this
work.
process.
Why there's
Yeah,
so many additional
But then-
carts.
that's why there's 2 carts on everybody's house. But
There's a truckload of tore ones still out there at public shop.
yeah, because they're supposed to come pick them up.
They never did.
All right, we'll get those picked up.
Yeah.
We'll get
Hey,
those picked
Mel,
up.
But
So-
you could get him a few for emergencies or quick replacements,
I
as long
think-
as we swap.
Well, let's
them out.
not- let's
Probably
not-
don't.
Yeah, let's not,
Because that's where this has come about. I'm quite sure of some of this.
yeah, because what happens, that just adds another layer. And then at the end of the day, we all want to make somebody, we want to take care of the customer. We want to take care of your citizens. We want to take care of them in a timely manner. I think sometimes we do that, but then nobody tracks us. Next thing you know, the guy's got 2 cans or,
And I think most of that came from when people moved, and the can was left there and the neighbor.
somebody
got
steals it, or,
Yeah.
I mean, borrows it for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say borrows it for a long time,
Yeah.
but yeah, that happens a lot. But, we'll, yeah, for a long time. As a matter of fact, it's on everybody's street. But,
Hey, Melvin, I'm happy. There's a overflow container at the 2 fire stations, so I have no complaints.
okay, yeah.
And that's going to be worked into the new renewal contract.
Well,
too,
you'll
right?
have to pay for it. I was trying to figure out how we could do that. But the contract states it has to be paid because it already has been paid for, so it has to be paid for.
Right.
But when,
Do you have the rates? Is it the same rate?
Same
that
rate as that.
everybody else
Yeah,
gets?
same
Okay,
rate
we
as
don't
that.
get a government discount, right?
I
Oh,
tried,
okay. Gotta ask.
yeah,
No, you didn't try hard enough.
yeah. I did ask.
If you want to sign this
Yeah,
today,
I
then
did.
you need to go.
I
ahead and
did.
say,
I
approve
did.
it.
I did ask.
Okay.
No, I did ask, and but we'll work with you. We'll work with you. If you ever have trouble on that, if you get to the end of the month, you can't pay them too, just let me know.
Thanks, Josh.
So we'll work with you.
And we've spent, it looks like 18,865 a year just on city garbage and dumpsters alone. So that's what we're responsible for, that we pay for, so. When we add the additional, 120?
Yeah.
Well, 240 for the new dumpsters, so we've got to add that amount too, so.
But it'll be, but I think once we do this card audit and kind of get everything kind of like realign,
Mhm.
I think you'll start to see your bottom line. I think it'll help. I mean, at least we'll know what's out there, even if it increases, but now we'll know where it's increased. We'll know who.
If the increase, we gotta be able to collect for it, so therefore.
Right, exactly.
It'll work out.
Yes, exactly. So,
Not that it's gonna cost us more and not. get-
no, it's not gonna cost you. It'll be, like, at the end of the day, we want you to just end up, like you said,
A wash.
a wash. Yeah. And we want to help you do that. And it's probably time, we signed a new contract 3 years ago, but we had the contract before then. So there's probably not been a, card audit in a long time. So it's due.
Mhm. Okay.
So, and I think that'll help with your budget.
And the billing. Yep.
You did hear that, Larry, that he wasn't gonna throw them 2 in for free.
Shucks.
Well, but I got you a really good rate. So no,
I can't believe that.
we'll work on that. I was, back in the old days, there were certain ways you could do that. Just stuff off the book and all that,
Technology called up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suddenly they just show up, we just do it and everybody see it. But now it's just, we can't, it's what it is. But
Okay. Do you have the contract ready for?
I don't have the extension today. If you vote on, then I'll get you the extension, but I want to make sure that everything was okay before I send it to legal with the 9% and make sure that you guys.
I think that they can motion to allow the mayor to
Right.
finalize the contract.
And then I'll get you the extension. Yeah.
Okay. Or we just postpone it to the next one to officially approve the contract. Whichever y'all want. to do.
It's, yeah.
So the 9% is negotiable or something?
He didn't say no.
I mean, yeah, we could go, if you want to go to 10, we're more than, It's an easy number, maybe that's 10%, but no, it's not.
So what we're saying, we just go ahead and wait till we get the contract and
Get the extension. I'll get the extension
get
to
the
you
extension.
ASAP.
We'll take care
It's
of
just-
it on February 16th.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll postpone that.
Okay, and have it to
And
you.
when does it take effect?
May
May?
1st. May 1st. Yeah. So.
And then do you think the garbage audit count will be ready by May 1st? So we'll have a,
Me and you need to get together and decide when we want to do that. I got to see when my people could, it's coordinating schedules.
They gotta do it on days that they pick up.
Right.
You know, with garbage,
On Monday,
what's out there.
What do you do, add a man to a truck or something to kill him?
Yeah. And I'll probably come up here and
That may be the only thing Qualls needs to not put on the record
That's what I was thinking.
to where we don't, everybody doesn't know that's coming.
Yeah, by the
See,
way,
our newspaper's listening to that
Yeah.
out there right now.
yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I would, I don't think you want
Be
to,
nice not to,
you don't want to advertise when
no,
you're
I
in
don't
the
want to
car.
advertise.
you want people hiding them in the garage.
Hide them for
Yeah,
that for a
right,
couple
yeah.
weeks to see if they can get by with you.
Yeah, because driving in, I see one at the street, one at the house, the one's in the backyard, one's in the, I noticed all that today, so I paid close attention. So,
You got an eye for those kind of things.
yeah, I can find them. It's money.
Yeah,
For all,
it is.
it's money against you, money for me, that's just however it works, we need to make it right. So, and we'll do that, and I'll get the extension to you with what we agreed to today, so,
Thanks, Roger.
all right.
And we'll see you back in May for the Republic Services Scholarship, right?
Yes, absolutely. The very first, by the way, Monroeville always holds a special place in my heart because the first act I ever did in the job that I had was presenting that scholarship. And it's sure, nobody be mad at you when you're giving kids money to go to school. So that was a good thing. And I didn't realize it's going to be, it's crazy, but all right. Thank you guys. And like I said, we do appreciate your relationship and working as a partnership. And I'm glad we have good communication and appreciate working with you, Mayor, and much as we've only talked a little bit, but I've enjoyed and look forward to working with you in the future. And I know you're new.
It was
Look
real
forward to it.
informative and, I like to have a little bit of an idea sometimes what I'm talking about. So a lot of times you gotta go to subject matter expert.
Right. Well, and then it's when I go ask somebody else too. But I appreciate you guys. Thank you. All right. Take it.
Okay.
See you, Larry.
See ya. Take care.
Next item on the agenda is Code Official Kim Vault to talk about the Clement Park Planning Commission recommendations. Kim, Murphy?
She's green to get him.
Still here. Is there any way we can still, is there anything out there? I know we didn't want to bring that up again because it screwed us last time, excuse me.
There's no other,
Other options.
That bunch in Baldwin County still unanswered.
no, because they'd still have to go through the public services landfill. So they charge them extra to charge us extra, so.
I'm gonna call it James today. So he one built it, open that up there.
Yeah, but they bought it out.
Yeah, I know.
Well, it changed hands, I think, twice before they got it.
What about quick utilities? I've seen several of their red dumpsters down there.
Yes, ma'am. Jennifer?
All right,
Good afternoon.
yeah, no, we
Good.
we're going to go through and talk about the Planning Commission recommendations for Clement Park.
As you know, the territorial jurisdiction for the Planning Commission extends 3 or 5 miles past the city limit. And on Highway 47, a developer out of St. Simons, who's from Mobile, wants to build a 48-unit apartment complex on 7.5 acres. It is at the city limit line, so they're over the city limit line. The Planning Commission has reviewed it. The zoning board of adjustments have reviewed it. We had a posted public hearing. We had very little input on the public hearing, actually none. And the adjacent landowners were notified. A couple of them tried to get in, but there was some technical stuff. I talked to them by phone. They were just concerned about a fence at the back of their property from the Clausel side.
The right at the railroad tracks.
No, they're right at the city limit line, just past the left-hand turn to go into Beechwood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it just before you get to the underpass?
No, it's not that far. It's way before you get to the underpass.
Oh,
I
okay.
thought the underpass was a city limit at one time.
No,
It is on the road.
it is on the south side, but not on the north side. So this is, it's basically just like the apartment buildings in Atmore. It's middle class, working class, family housing.
Can you subsidize this or based on income or anything or not?
There's not subsidized that I'm aware of. There might, it's not Section 8.
Okay.
So there's not a subsidy from that standpoint. They will be landscaping. Yeah. So the
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. I was thinking that road right there.
That's the new road apartment.
Okay. Okay.
Can y'all see that?
Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
So
the man called this morning that's in the second house there, and he is irate about it. He was mailed a thing, I noticed about the public hearing 2 weeks ago. A member of the planning commission spoke to him. He said he checked his mailbox yesterday and he didn't have time to come to the meeting last night. And I'm like, I can't make you check your mail. If you don't check your mail,
Callaway or Kroger?
Raoul. And he doesn't live in the city limits. So this is not in the city limits. Sorry?
His issue would be with the county, wouldn't
He is. I told him to talk to his county commissioner. He talked to Billy G, and Billy G said the county has no zoning and they don't have anything to do with it. And then he called me back and asked me what kind of kickbacks we were getting. And I said, I'm not getting any kickbacks. I am not building this. It's not my project. He didn't quite get that. So the developer is calling him tomorrow. This is in the county, so we have very little authority to say yay or nay, but most likely they're going to ask to be annexed into the city at some point.
If it's in the county.
Ma'am?
If it's in the, I said, if it's in the county, let the county deal with it.
Well,
Are you requiring them to have the same fire department specs and
yeah,
utilities and all?
they have to meet all of our requirements for construction.
So if we ever do take a meeting, it'll be okay.
Yep, yep.
Okay. Now, and the reason I asked him to come in and provide this is because this gentleman has obtained the services of Geotechnical Environmental Consultants Incorporated. And there are several questions that they go back and ask And one of the questions, is the city of Monroeville supportive of the use of Alabama Housing Finance Authority funding to support housing opportunities? And basically what he is doing, this is one of the ways he's financing this. And even though we don't have any, it's not in the city limits, it is in our jurisdiction and it does provide housing. My question to the council, would we be supportive of him attaining finance through this finance authority?
For you. Is there any advantage? And to him, I guess there is, but is there any disadvantage to us by saying yes or no?
Well, one of the things that you do run into, and this is something that we've been in discussion, is you do have a housing shortage in Monroe. So, you know, this is an opportunity to expand upon that housing, you know, for people to find places to rent and things of this nature. So that would be the advantage of us being in supportive of it. And all it is requires that we check the box, yes or no. So.
And if there's any other obligations that we're obligated because of it or not.
No, we won't be obligated for, you know, the guarantee in financing or anything like that. This gentleman has all of his expenses fall back on him. We just saying that if you're gonna build this housing here, then we don't have an issue with you using this Alabama Housing Finance Authority.
And we will get building permit fees from it, which I believe he said it's a $6.5 million project. So it's not, I mean, it's not an investment in Section 8.
Yeah. So will the prices be the same since they're similar to the ones in Atmore? Will be affordable
It's
living?
not the same. No, you mean the rent prices?
Yes.
It's not the same developer.
Okay.
It's the buildings are very similar.
Okay. Has he put a projected price of what he might charge for that?
I haven't heard that.
We will get property taxes off of it.
That's what the county.
County will get the property tax.
Right, but he'll have to get a business license, you know, a rental property.
We have to
For
be
the
in city
future.
limits.
Right. Mhm.
So if we annex it, then we'd have that.
Mhm.
Now, everything up to that is city limits.
Right, it's contiguous, it's adjacent, it's touching in the city limits. So it would be, I mean, the council could do it without having to go.
I talked to, I've had several phone conversations with the League of Municipalities. This would not be spot zoning. This would, under our definitions, it would have to be R4. And the adjacent properties here and here are R1. But this is county. I chatted with Larry yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yes, on the phone this morning.
Today.
And there could be a contingency when they ask to be put in if they ask to become in the city. One thing in our favor is we could put a contingency in there that none of this could ever be rented at Section 8. So we could solidify the deal on our side and keep it under the table until that happens. And then we kind of guarantee that they'll always have to be maintained and upgraded.
And now, Tim, we were talking, we'll provide police, but not fire necessarily, right?
At this point, correct.
Okay.
The Mexi Fire Department, this falls in the Mexi Fire Department. It's being spec'd to our fire department's standard. but Mexi has to call for backup to Monroeville first, which Billy seemed to think it would happen pretty easy. So it may not exactly be our fire thing, but if there was a major fire, I'm pretty sure Billy would.
Well, the closeness of it too, it would probably.
Right. I mean,
fine anyway.
if it's it's a grease fire or something, there's a fire extinguisher. But if we got 8 units on fire, I'm sure Billy would have to come as well, or our fire department.
But it will be the Monroeville water sewer.
It will be Monroeville water sewer.
And the pipes, right? The 8-inch pipe, like it'll be pipes enough to support the fire hydrants.
Yep.
Oh,
I just gotta ask a dumb question. Why did it come to us to go into the county in the county? I don't understand that.
So what did you say?
They come to the city instead of going to the county.
Because of our police jurisdiction, isn't that correct?
That's right.
It's our police jurisdiction, so he has to abide by our zoning code.
Right. There's no zoning
Okay.
or building codes in the county. And
That's right.
the territorial jurisdiction for towns our size, according to state law, is 3 miles out
Okay.
from the city limit.
Okay.
And if you want to have a good idea how far 3 miles out is, as the crow flies, it's where Highway 47 hits Highway 84.
Yes. Okay. So. Okay. I'm just thinking right now. If they fall up on our police jurisdiction, so I'll talk about that later. I've been up in this council meeting because I see some places that people in our police jurisdiction, and they're not keeping their places up. They're not keeping special. I'm not gonna call it a particular place, but it's a couple of places around here need some they need to clean up their area, and they live in the police jurisdiction.
Okay, well, we can talk about that, and they can get on the list.
Okay. Well, the reason why I said it is we're gonna hold people to, if we're gonna get this building here, these apartments, we need to hold people to our standards since they live in the police jurisdiction. I didn't realize that we were doing that.
Well, the building permits are already required in the police jurisdiction.
Okay. So this gonna be pretty on the
Weed and debris
Beechwood
doesn't-
side.
Sir?
This is gonna be on Beechwood side.
No, on the north side.
On the north side, okay.
Weed and debris does not apply in the police jurisdiction. That's only in the city limit.
Okay.
Hey, Tim, why they didn't use land next to the Closet of Texaco?
I have no idea.
Oh, because in the beginning you said that's where they were gonna build them.
No, I said that's one of the spaces they're looking at. And they were thinking of that space, but they went with this space.
Yes.
Oh,
And
okay.
one of the reasons that they went with this space is because he had gone out and had all the necessary permit requirement studies and all that done. So he had made, I don't know, it was over, from what he told me, over $30,000 investment in researching this site. So,
Did you hear that, Thelma?
I did. I'm glad they're going down there.
okay. All right. Couple of items that's going to come up in the council meeting I'm going to go ahead and make you aware of, and that is to set the RFP for the improvements at the community house. We also have an agreement that has come up where the city police department does transport for Lighthouse Transport, and this is for people who are victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, and this type of thing. And the last thing on here is that I got a notice from the Alabama Department of Public Health in which they will provide to mayors, based on their zip code, updates when it comes down to the coronavirus. You know, how many people you have, they provide by gender, they provide by race, this type of information, in which mayor would be our point of contact. So if we have any other issues or anything like that comes from the governor's office concerning mandates, we can go back and look at our numbers for the city to help us determine if there's any appropriate action to do. It's all a data transfer file. And we have to be in compliance with PPI information.
HIPAA, yeah.
Yeah, HIPAA.
Yes.
HIPAA information. So that would be the other thing that would come up. I had asked.
Give us names.
Mhm.
They give us names or just statistics?
Numbers, just data.
Yeah, just the statistics.
From Monroeville specifically.
Okay. I asked Chuck to come in because on Monday, it's my understanding on the 8th that they're going to reduce the age level. And I know how it was on the first day that we went. So the second day, it slowed down some, but any updates on what you anticipate we're looking at and what resources we might need?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. I appreciate you asking me to come. If I can just give a quick little background on it, you know, the state had a phased approach on groups of people they were going to bring to allow them to get vaccinated. And it started with 1A, which was the frontline healthcare workers and frontline medical personnel as first responders. Pretty limited group. And then they opened it up to partial 1B, grabbing people 75 years of age and older, and all first responders. And that's what we're currently working on. In fact, we have one more day through our drive-through, which is tomorrow. And I really don't expect a lot of people, maybe 150, something like that, because we have seen that come down some with the parameters not changing. Now, on the 8th will certainly be the first day statewide that the public health will open up to more people, basically including all of phase 1B. And they actually grabbed down into 1C just to get age 65. So 65 and above, and all of the people in 1B will qualify starting the 8th. In Monroe County, the first availability of that will be the 10th through our drive-through. So just to give you a quick example of what would be included come the 10th in Monroe County would be 65 age and older, corrections officers, food and agriculture workers, I'm assuming that's farmers, postal service workers, manufacturing workers, which would be a big number around here. We're talking about every mill we've got will be eligible. Grocery store workers, including convenience store workers, that's a significant number. Public transit workers, not sure that's a lot around here. And the big one, anybody in the education sector, administration, janitorial staff, teachers, aides, and the like. So anybody in it, and that's community college, higher education, or high school. Child care workers, daycare people will be allowed. And anybody in the judiciary. So that significantly opens up what we're going to be able to vaccinate starting Wednesday the 10th. I will note that a few people have already had their first dose and they'll have to come back for their second shot. The most significant will be February 17th because that'll be 4 weeks after the initial launch of the drive-through. Unfortunately, public health's not doing any appointments at the public health office on agriculture, so we have to pick up everybody they did the Monday before as well. So right now I'm looking at around 725 people that have got to get their second shot on February the 17th. So anybody that came to public health on the 18th, or if they came to our drive-through on the 20th, will need to come February 17th to get their second shot. So like I said, that's over 700 people, plus the list of folks that really want to come get their first one. That day is going to be a stress test, no doubt. We're finalizing some plans to kind of change the entrance points and stuff right now, but we're going to do our dead level best to accommodate as many people as possible. Nothing will be as important as the second dose that day. And if we have to turn first dose people away because of that, we will have to do it, because we've got to get the second dose in within the allotted time frame. As far as resources, continued help from the city with the fire department is great with the ambulance. I think we got all the EMTs with their necessary orientation that Chief Black needed from the state on how to respond to an anaphylactic episode. We haven't had anything of the such so far. We haven't had to use any epinephrine, haven't had any adverse reactions on site. People are getting sore arms and some chills and headaches and stuff like that, but it usually goes away after a day or two. But certainly appreciate all the support. Appreciate you coming out every time. That's been very helpful. We're all learning this kind of together at the same time. Mary's done a great job coming out as well. And this, I shouldn't start thanking people because there's a laundry list of people to thank, but we're really not concerned too much with volunteers for tomorrow. A lot of the RNs in the community have stepped up and put their name in the hat to volunteer for the 17th, because we're actually going to add a third line, which will need more RNs, more monitors. Everything just exponentially grows when this keeps going. So if anybody have any questions about who's eligible, I'll be happy to answer.
Manufacturing, is that employees only or support people like
anybody that's in the manufacturing? So we've never really split a hair out there. I can promise you. I don't mind saying it now. It's basically the honor system. You don't have to bring your employee badge. You just say, hey, I work at GP or I work at Harrigan. You're going to go right on through. If I work at Walmart, you're going to go right on through. I'm a teacher at such and such. You're going to go right on through.
Are any other availability of this opening up, like drugstores or doctor clinics or anything like this?
Yeah, they're working on contracts with Walmart and Walgreens and pharmacies. I mean, I think there's a pharmacy in Frisco, I think, that's actually doing it. The biggest thing is doing it through the drive-through. We can do mass amounts of people that the other places just can't.
Yeah, I just didn't know if that was being opened up, more availability of options to go to.
There are several places that have inquired as to being a place of vaccination, but quite honestly, just wasn't enough vaccine to go around. If you split it up to everybody that wanted to do it, it would be spread all over the place. And I do want to clear up that, because people ask me all the time, how much vaccine does Monroe County have? They take that vaccine with them everywhere they go. So when they come to our site tomorrow, they'll bring it with them. So it's not earmarked for Monroe County. We'll use whatever we need for whoever comes up. And when we're done, they leave with it. So it's not stored here in the county. The fact that they do go place to place to place every day allows them to kind of estimate when they can take it out of the freezer, put it in the refrigerator, and then warm it up for the day of the vaccination. So
urgent care is still doing
urgent care, I think, is doing 10 a day, something like that. So I think right now we're averaging, we can pump about 125 per hour through the drive-through. So
where you on, man?
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you. And don't stand in front of the cars.
They'll run you over.
Chuck, do you have any idea how many shots they have for tomorrow?
They won't tell me that information. We just never ran out. I know that. Just for instance,
looks like to me, if they have X number, and if it gets to be 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon and it's not been used, looks like they would, do they ever just open it up to use up what they have?
All right, so that's the second most question I get. You have to, like I was just saying earlier, it's not earmarked for Monroe County. They will take it to the next county after that. However, each vial has 10 vaccinations in it.
Right.
And at the end of the day, if they puncture it one time, they've got to get rid of that vial. So in the 2 weeks that we've done this, we have not thrown any vaccine away. But unfortunately, the first day, it absolutely landed on the number. So we didn't have a single dose left. The second time we had one dose left, and a lady had sat, I take that back. The first week we did have one left, and a lady sat there and waited on it. This past time, a car sat there for 2 hours with the hopes that there would be vaccine left over, and we had one shot left, and they had one person in the car. So none of it got wasted. But at the end of the day, there's not 50 shots laying around. Like I said, they only crack open one vial at a time, and it's 10 shots in it.
All right.
Hey, Chuck,
Yes.
supposing a person forget to go on the 17th to take the second shot, then what would happen? They have to go back and take the first one and then, what? What will they do?
No, you would still go to get the second shot. Just understand that all the clinical trials that the manufacturers did, they based it off of a certain program. And with the Moderna vaccine, to get the optimum 95% coverage with the vaccine, they need you to go between 28 and 32 days after your first shot. Okay?
But I'm saying, supposing they forget to go.
I understand. I'm getting there. Now, if they forget and they come the next week or the week after that, they would still get the second shot, but Moderna would not guarantee that it would be a totality of 95% effective. It could be 92% effective or something like that. So you still want to get the booster shot, even if you do it a week after.
Okay.
I can't stress enough, though, but anybody coming for their second shot, it's vitally important you bring that card with you that you got after the first one. If you've lost it or don't remember to bring it, you will get held up because they have to look it up on a computer. And I'm trying to be ruthlessly efficient at my drive-through, so I really want it to go fast and not everybody have to wait for hours on end. So try to remember to bring that card with you.
Okay.
Any more questions?
And the only other thing everybody asks me all the time, does health conditions matter? It still does not a qualifier. So if you have a chronic asthma or something, I apologize. It is still not opened up to that. That's the next group of 1C will be health conditions. So if you're not on that list and you're not 65 or over, we just got to wait a little bit longer.
One more question.
Yes, sir.
Is there a time frame that if you tested positive and then tested negative, when you should get a shot?
Great question. You really need to wait 90 days. In fact, they won't vaccinate you if it's been within 90 days. All right. It's 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock tomorrow, and hopefully we'll have more than I think, but I don't think it's going to be a whole lot. I wish we were opened up tomorrow to do this other list, but we'll get there soon enough, I'm sure. So next Wednesday will be fun.
All right.
Thank y'all.
You got your time limited.
Well, that was part of it.
That was part of it?
Yeah, that was part of it.
Thank y'all. Y'all
I
good.
think I got everything covered that I needed to. You know, I talked about the data collection, and I talked about the Alabama Housing Financing Authority, and I think that was pretty much it. So, let's see.
Hey, Thelma,
Hey,
that's one thing we ain't gonna forget.
I know that's the truth.
We may forget to eat. Ain't forgetting that shot.
I know that's the truth.
All right. Well, the open up council meeting, final schedule.
Mayor,
Yes, ma'am.
whose time is it for the invocation?
Al.
Al,
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
I think you've got somebody here for us.
Okay. All right. Thank you. My time will be
Yes,
next.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
You can go out there.
I'm staying here, though.
Well, I can take it out there. We can go out there.
It's fine staying here, but we need to be out.
It's.
Do you want to come in here?
Oh, I can bring the computer real quick.
Barely get around.
Huh? Just to do the, sorry. Just to do the pledge and then go back in there.
It was Fred. What
do you do walking around?
No. All that new equipment there. Walking up on that check,
There's no way you should have to do all that.
I know, I agree with them. I'm trying to stay convinced with them. They said anytime you want to go to the house, go and go.
Oh, they're trying to get you to do that.
I still like the paycheck. Look at it. Yeah, that is on the screen. Hadn't they, told you that before too?
No, you know.
So on the back, it's the little dot. Right? This is a small.
Yeah.
Money's out there. I'm gonna do something. Why not? I'm not gonna go out fish or hunt.
No, you ain't gonna do anything but work. So why?
I get gay on Social Security. I'm one of them.
Now, what long as y'all could do something together, that's all right. That's not your challenge.
It's not you.
Don't say what hurt.
Where is the sin? Have you seen that pickup? There's a pickup.
Got the lighter, yeah. Yeah, the challenge. That's me.
Such a new home security.
$5 million more power off the show.
But the vehicle they got now, the electric car, 0 to 60 on 3 stations.
It's a DMC Hummer.
Yeah. I heard somebody talking.
Stay in road and ground. You get somewhere you need some air. It's a 350 mile charge.
So you won't be surprised. I am pretty good. Same reason we did not present it that way. Yeah, and I again, fine. Don't be surprised. No. That's why I was clarifying it. One thing I went back and read it, and it does read it. Bug doesn't, but doesn't. Alcohol, food sales. It does not allow alcohol to beer and wine. It does not allow spirits. Yeah, that is only one. Yeah. But that one does not require food. All right. Well, time being 5 o'clock, I'd like to call the meeting to order.
Y'all bow your head, please. Thank you, dear Lord. We'd like to thank you once again for a beautiful day you have provided for us. Thank you for these men and women who come here to serve our city. Ask you to give them the wisdom they need and show them the way they need to go, show them the truth and the light. These things we ask in your name. Amen.
Pledge of allegiance. Pledge. pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
Yes.
Okay, our first item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the work session held on January 19th and of the regular meeting that's held on January 19th, 5 p.m. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I make a motion.
Do I have a second?
I second it.
Okay, any discussion? There being none, all in favor? Aye. Next item on the agenda is resolution 21-02-001. This is a street emergency project and engineering agreement with Silver County, in order to implement this project. Do I have a motion to approve?
I didn't hear. I didn't hear.
The resolution for street resurfacing, I make a motion.
I didn't hear. Second. I second
The next resolution is to set a bid date for the street resurfacing project. And I believe that date is
It's April 14th, Mayor.
April 14th. Okay, we set the bid date for the resurfacing project on April 14th, 2021. Do I have a motion to set the bid date?
So move.
I second it. I don't know if they can hear me.
No.
Next is resolution 21-02-003. This is the ADM rubber mulch grant and engineering services, right, Civil South East. And this grant provides mulch for park and playground. Do I have a motion to approve? Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Clement Park recommendation from the planning commission. And this is for a new apartment complex located on Alabama 47 South on the north side, which is actually not in the city limits of Monroeville. However, it falls within our police jurisdiction, and we're requiring them to meet the zoning ordinances for the city of Monroeville. So do I have a motion to accept the zoning or the plan commission recommendation?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
Come on, Thelma, wake up over there.
You said they can't hear. You guys gotta use your preacher voices.
Okay. All in favor?
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the next motion coming up, I will ask for a motion to suspend the rules.
I so move. Did you hear me?
All in favor?
I can't hear. I can't hear.
Okay, this ordinance is an amendment to the alcohol ordinance that is already on the book. And what it does, it defines micro distillery, micro brewery, a tavern, a brew pub, and all those definitions. It also sets the licensing fees for each of these establishments. It follows the state guidelines when it comes to sampling. So I need a motion to adopt the amended ordinance as presented. Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Do I have a second?
Yeah, mine is slow.
Discussion.
I have questions with some of the definitions of what some of the different operations are allowed to sell alcohol and the conditions that they're allowed. That tavern mainly, we're not concerned about.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Daniel? Okay. All opposed? Okay. Councilman Hines, Councilman McDaniel, y'all abstaining?
No, I just can't hear real good. I can't hear you real good. I can't hear you.
Ask her if she's in favor of the alcohol ordinance.
Miss Thelma, are you in
Yes.
favor? Are you in
Yes.
favor of the alcohol ordinance?
Yes, yes, I will. Yes.
Yes, I voted in favor.
All right, so the motion is approved and carried.
I can't hear.
Okay, we're just saying that the motion carried.
Okay.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is the Monroeville Ordinance 20-02-002. This is the public participation and privileges of the floor policy. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules to discuss this matter?
I'll make a motion.
I second it.
Okay, all right. What this ordinance does, it goes back and it identifies the privileges of the floor. It's been modified according to the comments from the council and provided to each of you. And I think it meets all of your recommendations. So do I have a motion to adopt this amended ordinance?
I'll make a motion.
I second it. What's going on here?
I think it's on there, that them,
The what?
maybe the internet was out.
What's going on now? I can't.
All license for a river runs through it to be held February 16th at 4:50 p.m. There's a motion that's been presented and properly seconded, and we are in discussion. Any discussion on the motion? Okay, there being none. All in favor of setting the public hearing for February 16th?
Aye.
The next item on the agenda is provide a request for proposal and advertising. And this is to repair the section there by the chairs room, which was gotten in this way. So do I have a motion to proceed with sending out the RFP and advertising? Do I have a second?
I second it.
Can't hear you.
Doing the repair, and and the response is yes, there's one for doing the concrete brickwork, and then one doing for the paving. The paving. And so those are the two options that would be included in the request for a proposal. So, we had discussion, all in favor? Next item on the agenda is to renew the Lighthouse Transport Agreement. This agreement is with the City of Monroeville Police Department to transport victims of domestic violence or sexual assault to the Lighthouse facility in Baldwin County. Do I have a motion to approve this agreement? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is an agreement with the Alabama Department of Public Health. What this is that the Department of Public Health will provide to the mayors of the city information regarding COVID-19. Provide information such as the number of cases that happen within the zip code of that city, gender and race, and other items. And this is all covered under HIPAA agreement, so we're limited on what access that we can provide to this data. So do I have a motion to enter into an agreement with the Alabama Department of Public Health for this data mining?
So
moved. I so moved. I second it. I didn't really hear it.
The last item, the Lighthouse Community Call for a vote. I know we had a motion in a second. I don't know if we were
Everybody unanimous with the Lighthouse agreement?
Yes.
Yes, I agree.
I agree. I just can't hear it too good. I can't.
There's
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me better?
I heard you then, just then.
Okay, all right. Well, I had to move down.
Okay.
The item that I need to council to consider is that there is a company, Geotechnical Environmental and Consultants Incorporation, who are working with the developer for the apartment complex. And they sent a questionnaire, and the question concerning the city, it says, is the city supportive of the use of the Alabama Housing Finance Authority funding to support housing opportunities? This does not require the city to provide any funding or any commitment on our part, other than saying that if this developer approaches the Alabama Housing Finance Authority, that the city does not object to him applying for the funding from there. So do I have a motion to allow the city to support this initiative for the Alabama Housing Finance Authority by this developer?
I make a motion.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All we did was.
That is the only matter.
Can't hear you.
Number two, I wanted to ask, I wanted to offer a motion to the council, make a motion to spend up to $500 to allow the mayor and the clerk and her staff to find microphones and speakers that would better enable sound to be transferred.
We have it in the ABC budget already.
Okay.
To do.
Who's talking? I didn't hear that person.
Just vote for it, Thelma, don't worry about it.
I'll be able to say.
That's all. Councilman Ruffin?
I don't have anything to say.
Councilman Oakham?
I'm fine.
Okay. Councilman Thomas?
Yeah.
Councilman Thomas? I'll come back. Councilwoman McDaniel?
Mayor, when you get a chance, could you check with Chuck to see how we're gonna get the shots to the homebound people? When you get a chance to talk to Chuck, because the people that's at home, they're gonna need those shots too.
Yes, ma'am. He heard your request and he's gonna check into it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Councilman Hines?
I don't have anything. Thank you.
All right. Mike?
No.
Okay. Ms. Bruton?
We're good.
Okay. Chief Black?
No, sir.
Captain Simon?
Thank you. Now we will work on this technology.
How about you, Mary? You got anything?
We're gonna update all this. Yes, sir. Yep, we're gonna get y'all microphones.
Tim?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
Here, do you mind one more thing I could say?
Okay.
I am a little discouraged, and I've talked to you about this problem, and I've seen some statistics online that show it even further, but just not seeing a large, I'm not seeing as many minority coming through the drive-through vaccine that we should be getting. And I checked with the state, and they're pretty much seeing that across the board with the state. And I just encourage anybody that has any questions about the vaccines or concerns, contact your doctor, your primary care physician, someone you trust. Do your research. But this could be a life-saving measure to a number of people in the community that aren't taking advantage of it. And I'd love to see those percentages come up.
Any other business?
Good time, I'll make a motion, we adjourn this meeting of the city council in Monroe.
Continue to pray for Dr. Eddings and others